Hello, you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Health and Wellness Summit. My name is Courtney Miracle. I am the host, and today I have Kateyln McJunkin, and I was see the last names, you guys. I keep saying this, I'm going to mess them up, but I think I got it right. So Kateyln is a breathwork facilitator and a health, oh gosh, you told me, emotional wellness coach. I'm always planned out, you guys, and then I mess it up. So it's good for me to mess up first. Well, Kateyln, thank you for being here. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. Well, let's start. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey into discovering breathwork, and why you decided to become a facilitator?
Yeah. So my journey started as kind of like a Hail Mary. I had tried it all and I was giving up, dealing with a lot of depression, chronic stress, overwhelm, anxiety. And I was just kind of at my wit's end. And I stumbled upon breathwork, and that was kind of the catalyst into the rest of like my self-development, personal development journey. It really kind of allowed everything to click and finally make sense, and I was able to take action on all of the things I was learning, meditation and yoga, and it blended it all together so well and gave me this beautiful foundation for personal transformation that I was like, this is too good to not share with everyone I know.
Yeah, it's crazy when you start to realize you're like, why has no one taught me this? And like, it's breathing. I'm just breathing, right? I felt the same way with breath work. I was like, I'm just gonna breathe, okay. And then I had some, my first couple experiences were crazy, and I was like, okay, I don't know how to explain this. I was just breathing, but oh my gosh, this is incredible. So, so tell us a little bit about. I mean, everybody does breath work a little bit differently. So, kind of, what's your specialty? Or explain to us a little more about breathwork and how you facilitate it with your clients.
Absolutely. So I like to summarize breath work by calling it an active meditation. It's breath work. There's nothing passive about it. And we all know how to breathe, and we breathe every day. And that's something I also love about breath work, is that it's so accessible in the sense that we are always breathing. We always have our breath with us. So it's something that we can tap into at any moment. I primarily work with people dealing with a lot of stress, anxiety, overwhelm, burnout. It's like a shout out to my perfectionists and people pleasers because
That's me.
right? We just like take on all of these extra burdens, and it can be like so heavy, and just kind of holding space to breathe and discharge some of that excess energy and anxiety and emotion.
Yeah, I love it. So what are some of the benefits? So you have someone that's overstressed and overwhelmed and all of those things. Like, how does breath actually help them move that energy, and like, what does it do for our nervous systems?
Yeah. So it brings about a beautiful sense of mental clarity. And one of the ways it does that is by regulating the nervous system. So if we take an integrative approach to breath, so that being bite-sized pieces of breath that we can implement throughout our day, what we're doing is we're shifting out of that sympathetic state. So we kind of exist in this over agitated sympathetic state. Our phones are ringing, we have emails, we have people, we have kids, we have traffic, we have all of the things. And so we're kind of stuck in this sympathetic nervous system state. And the breath allows us to kind of come in and push us down into a parasympathetic nervous state, or what we call like the rest and digest system. And from here, we're better able to respond versus react. We're better able to choose again, kind of remember all of the beautiful things that we learn in navigating our triggers and like mindset work and all of that stuff that just kind of hits the surface and falls off. We're in a better position to absorb and then actually act on all of the beautiful things that we know. And it allows us to shift and find like that sense of calm.
Yeah, I love that. So with your clients, do you do a lot of integrative or meditative? And can you explain to the audience the difference between the two?
Absolutely. So it is always both, because I feel like there's such a transformation and a clearing in meditative. And then we kind of need to uphold that and continue to build off of that foundation and the transformation that we built in meditative with integrative. So meditative is a one-on-one session with a facilitator where you're guided on a journey. You hold a specified breath pattern and a mantra or affirmation for a length of time. And it's really good for, again, moving through trauma, releasing emotion and energy and all of that pent up stuff that we like to hold with us, that stored cortisol and adrenaline.
Yeah.
And integrative is little bite-sized bits you integrate throughout your day. And there's such an importance, I think, to that as well, because that's where the integration, the embodiment comes into with the breath. So both, all of it, I think they complement each other so well, and that they go like hand in hand. I like integrative a lot because it really allows us to manage our nervous system throughout the day and take charge of our emotional state. If we're thinking of our bodies are always communicating to us, and there's afferent and efferent data. So afferent being body to brain, efferent being brain to body. And our bodies communicate to our brains more often than our brains communicate to our body. And so when we're breathing and we can pull in this breath that's slow and relaxed, by doing that, we kind of hijack the mind, and the mind's going to think, oh, well, if I'm breathing in this more relaxed state, I must be relaxed, and then send us more of that juicy, like relaxing parasympathetic release, and then vice versa. So it kind of like goes in this beautiful circle, this cyclical nature of breath.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that because I think so many people have the opposite of that. Body says, I'm anxious, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. And your brain's like, you're right, you are anxious and stressed and overwhelmed. And here's all the things. And then that circle is where most people live. And I know that was me. I mean, I know for sure that was me before I started my healing journey. It was just this like doing more, being more perfection, more of all of the things. And like, when I personally learned to slow down, I was like, oh, there's all these beautiful signals coming from my body, to which I've been completely disconnected for years. Right. And so I think, and maybe you saw this. So before your journey, were you doing meditation?
I was trying.
Right. And I think that's the beautiful thing. And I'm sure you see this with your clients of like, try, right? I like people, everyone, I think everyone I've ever talked to is like, I'm terrible at meditation. And I'm like, well, we all are, because we live in this state. And that's the beauty of breath work, right? Is like it gets you to be in your body and to actually create those things, and to take, I don't know. I still think, and maybe I'm not doing it yet correctly all the time, but like my brain is still sometimes working in breath work, but it's a completely different response. So for your clients, they come to you usually, do they realize that they're overwhelmed and overstressed and all of those things, or like what did they see on the outside that's presenting in their life?
I see more often than not it's anxiety, and they just feel kind of like a sense of chaos. I'm not certain they've really been able to break it down as like, this is the way I feel, because like you said just a moment ago, all your body's giving you all these warning signs and you're ignoring them because we don't know how to listen to our bodies because our minds are so busy. And they kind of, I think, get trapped in that in between kind of state. And yeah, I'd say it most often presents as anxiety.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting when we talk about anxiety is that energy behind anxiety is actually beautiful because it's usually excitement. But if we don't understand those signals, and we don't understand how to shift them, then that just, I mean, I think the best analogy I ever heard was like being in your Ferrari parked in your driveway. That's anxiety, right? Where like being in a Ferrari, going 90 miles an hour is beautiful if you're on a racetrack, but not when you're parked in your driveway. And so giving people that space, I think, to open up and to actually move the energy is so crucial. So for most people, what does it look like for breath work, as far as like how long do they do it? Like if someone was to work with you, is there like, hey, we're gonna do this for 3 months? Is it a one-time thing? Like I know a lot of people do a lot of different things. So what does breath look like with you?
I always recommend at least to start, try it 3 times. 3 times before you make your mind up, because
Okay.
every session is so different. And you might have a beautiful emotional release on the first, and then the second less so, and then the third is like a lot of physical sensations. So at least three, give it 3 chances, 3 chances. And then, I mean, I hope that in some way I'm able to influence people to even just spend 2 minutes a day noticing their breath forever, the rest of your life. If you
Yeah.
spend 2 minutes a day noticing your breath, profound changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So for you, when you started to breathe and it started to open up those channels, what tangible things shifted in your life, that you can really lean into?
There was just so much more mental clarity that I felt like I finally had a path that I finally was able to see direction that I wanted to go in. And in social situations, I was way more confident. I was way more calm. I noticed shifts in my personal relationships, in my business relationships. I noticed it in so many areas. Just even waking up feeling less burdened by my day because I knew that I had tools to help assist me no matter what I ran into.
Yeah, 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 I agree. And I think that's a beautiful way to say it, is that I know for me, I used to be reactive. Like I would wake up and this is the day and whatever. And I mean, and I don't know if eating disorders were part of your story, but for me, they definitely were. And so I was using an eating disorder to control my scenario. Whereas when I started breathwork and meditation and just having a morning practice, I was like, oh, I get to create how I feel. And then everything is totally different. And I think that's the beauty of breath, because even if you're, if you're a CEO or if you're in a job, you can be like, okay, before I go to this meeting, before I leave my office, I'm going to take a few breaths and I know that I'm going to show up in a different energy. And obviously we know like the world is energy and it attracts those things. And so knowing that like you can do the deep work inside of meditative breath, but then having those pieces where you can just be like, okay, I'm going to go sit in traffic. I'm going to take a few breaths. I'm going to like, I can be present and I can be here. So yeah, I love that. So with your emotional wellness coaching, tell us a little bit more about what that entails, and do I'm assuming you pair the two together.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. I think that just the breath like benefits so well in terms of like opening us up, getting into the body, learning what that feels like, and then again assisting us in that transformation each day in and out. And my one-on-one container, so emotional wellness coaching, it's one-to-one right now, minimum 3-month commitment, because I think it takes kind of at least 12 weeks to see any sort of tangible change. And it's a lot of shadow work and moving through triggers and limiting beliefs and all the sticky, icky stuff that we don't want to talk about, and supporting that through breath.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the breath, the same when I was doing that type of coaching, like the breath was a great awareness builder of like, oh, I'm not breathing, I'm not present, I'm not connected to my body. And then, as you dive into that stuff and really start to peel back the layers, it lets so much go. And I love that you said 3 when people start with you, those 3 sessions. I'll never forget, and hopefully it's okay with you if I share this, like my first breath practice, I was like, the first 5 minutes, I'm like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. And my logical brain is like, Courtney, you CrossFit. Like you are a fit human. You can lay on the floor and breathe. And my body was like, no, 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 we can't do this. Right. And like had a pretty like amazing experience. My second one was finally where I let go. And like I was by myself. And had you been watching me, you would have thought that I was like having a seizure because I released so much physical energy. It was crazy. And then I just felt this like complete calm. And I mean, I like that day forever changed my life, right? And so that's what I think is so cool with breath, is like it can be that one session that just changes everything and opens up everything. And I had another session where literally like my whole program downloaded. I mean, it was like my brain was on board, but not really. And I like got down and I was like, I gotta write all the things, like the name and the like, it's just crazy. And so getting people to really see the power in that and being open to it, and understanding that there's usually resistance, right? Like there's usually resistance in the beginning of like, what am I, all I'm doing is breathing, why is this so hard, why am I freaking out, and so yeah, I love that you take people on a one-to-one journey, because I think that's so important to really have someone hold space for you, and for you to have that container. So yeah, that's beautiful. So I'm going to ask you just for fun, so of all the breath works you've done, what was your like coolest, most fun, craziest, like what was your favorite breath experience?
Oh, like me personally breathing, my favorite, like, oh goodness, there's so many. I'd say there was one, and this is a while ago. I actually had someone facilitate for me, which I think was really exciting because you really get to kind of let go and you don't have to, think so much like, oh, when's the music going to stop? When's my timer going to go off, And to just feel safe and held in a container. And it was in person back when that was a thing.
Right.
And I usually get so cold. And this time I got so hot.
Oh.
I was roasting. Felt like I was like burning a hole through the floor beneath me. And I had just intense visuals And kind of like you said, your whole program downloaded, it was something similar to me. It was like everything that I had lost clarity on or I was confused about was like, whoosh.
Yeah.
And I wish I could explain the experience in more detail than that, but it's hard to find words, especially if you haven't experienced it before. And I urge everyone to try it for sure once, at least 3 times, because it's hard to put words to an experience like that.
Totally. I feel the same way. I'm always like, I can't explain it to you, but you need to experience it. And once you do, it's so incredible. So
Game changer.
I love it. I love it. If you guys can't tell from our excitement, we obviously believe in these things. So, Kateyln, tell us, how can the viewers find you? Facebook, website, where's the best place to get in contact with you if we have convinced them that they must breathe?
Convince them. The best place I'd say is over on Instagram. That's probably where I'm the most active. At Kate McJunkin is my handle. And yeah, lots of like live breathwork there, always uploading. I teach breathwork classes as well, so my schedule's on there. All of the good stuff over on Instagram.
On the Instagram. All right, my dear. Well, I love it. Thank you for sharing your magic with us. And I appreciate you being here. And for everybody else, we'll see you guys on the next interview.